my cousin.
Oh no.
Dude,
What?
I don't know who thought that was a good headline, but yeah, that's actually a headline from one of the news stations that was reporting on that. To think that that's where that man would have gone. Talk about terrible decisions like we're talking about now, but not on that level.
You know what also hurts me is like knowing that man was also like on that Nickelodeon
Oh
ad.
yeah.
I was like, man.
So you said out of everything in your childhood, you would just like change like any of the little mistakes.
Every mistake, every small mistake I made.
Now, let me present this to you, because when I was thinking of this question, there was like a lot of things where I was like, you know what, there's so much I would want to change, right?
Right.
And I always talk about this when people ask if you could change, you know, if you could go back and change a lot of things that happened to you, would you? So I asked this question to you because whenever that question comes up, the number one thing that comes in my mind is, do you think you'd be the same person if you went and changed those things?
Now that you think about it, I feel like I wouldn't be the same person, except for like some things I've done.
Yeah.
You know? Like
Yeah.
if like I were to go back in time and just stop myself from doing some things, I feel like I would be the same person, maybe. But then again, it's the things that you do that like makes you you. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's super cliche to say, but like the way you act, like back then definitely influenced how you act now, unless there's a drastic change, like an event going on.
Mm-hmm.
But it might. I mean, in my case, maybe it'll definitely change who I am now. Because back then I was super goofy. Now I'm still pretty much goofy,
But just with the right people.
but just with the right people and a bit more mature about it too.
Yeah.
Like back then, there used to be this app called iFunny on the App Store, and oh man, every day I would just like constantly look at memes that were just like super dark humored.
Yeah, and that's like not even really.
Yeah.
Or like a lot of people trying to disguise things as dark humor.
Exactly.
See, that's the one thing about us is that we can recognize what's dark humor and what's just blatantly something else, you know?
Right.
But so, I feel you though, like, I think everyone can say, like, there's things that they can change and that it wouldn't have that much of a drastic effect on them. But definitely there's, like, some things where people at first say they would want to change them, but then, like, you ask them that question, like, they truly think about it and they realize, yeah, no, if I were to, like, do those changes, like, yeah, like, I don't know if I'd be in the same place or same position as I am now, you know?
Right.
Because, like, one thing for me, it's, like, for the people that I've, like, talked with and stuff, and though I've never, like, told my full story, you know, but, like, the people that know, like, bits and pieces of my story, I guarantee you, like, they would think that the number one thing I would say I would change from my, like, childhood is a lot of the, like, trauma I suffered. But, like, the thing is, if I don't go through any of that, then I'm not the person I am today, you know?
Yeah, you got a point.
Like, my experiences with trauma are what helped me become the person I am today, the person who and giving me the experience to help other people who go through such things, you know?
Yeah.
So I would definitely wouldn't, like, there's bits and pieces maybe of trauma that I would change, but I know for a fact that, like, the trauma I went through, like, it served a purpose, you know?
Yeah.
But if I had to change one thing about my childhood, it's really tough to think, you know?
Yeah.
Because I played a good amount of video games. I read a good amount of books. I kept up with a lot of hobbies. Sure, I don't have a lot of those hobbies now, but as a child, I kept them up.
Right.
Hmm. This is actually a really difficult question now that I think about it.
Take your time.
Like, it sounds easy to say, maybe like make more friends, but at the same time, I think we both know that's not really an easy thing.
Right.
Because I think you and I can both relate with like the fact that like now it's like we'll be playing like on PlayStation, and like we don't have a lot of people to play with.
Yeah, the group has consistently gotten smaller.
Yeah, and so it's like you want to tell yourself make more friends because it's easier, but like it's not that easy.
Yeah,
Especially for people like us, like how I mentioned earlier, how like with the right people, it takes a certain person for us to be friends with them.
Yeah.
It's probably gonna sound cliche, but I probably would have made sure my see, I keep coming up with things, but then like I think on like again it's like I can't say it because then it would change the person I am. I was gonna say probably keep myself in better shape,
Right.
but like me not being in better shape is what led to me getting like half the humor I have, and technically the self-confidence I have, because like before it was like, oh, like I think you can relate, like being like super self-conscious about like your weight and stuff.
Yeah.
But like being fat is what made me become like confident. Like this is gonna sound really terrible, but like I got to like such a point of like hating the way I look that I stopped caring about the way I looked.
Yeah, I get you.
Like I got to a point where it was like, okay, no one can make fun of me anymore because like I'm the like no one comes close to the things I tell myself, And
Right.
then it also got to a point where it's like, man, what do I care, Like, and like it's the same thing with humor, Before things used to get to me, but then I got to a point where it was like, I don't care. Like nothing's gonna faze me anymore,
Yeah.
So like, yeah, I would want myself to be in better shape, but like again, at the same time, me not being in better shape served a purpose.
Right. I mean, now that you mentioned that, I would also like go if I could change back in time. I would like also change my way of living. In terms like, I mean, I understand. Actually, I'm not sure.
You know something I would change?
What?
How often I would hang out with my friends. Because if you think about it, in middle school, I don't think I ever really hung out with people. Even though there was opportunities,
Right.
Like, compare it to high school, Like, middle school, I think me and you hung out at each other's houses, like, once or twice. Whereas high school, it was like, it happened like a lot,
Yeah.
Like the two of us would be hanging at each other's houses so often, and then, Game House became a thing.
Oh man, Game House, man.
I know, man, I miss Game House.
I feel like we should have gone to Game House earlier, if you know what I mean.
Well, we didn't know about it till high school.
Yeah. But like when was the first time we ever went to Game House? Like what? Sophomore year?
Either sophomore or junior.
I was sophomore. I was definitely sophomore. I think. Or was it? I don't remember. But I feel like I feel like if we could go back in time, I would like tell us that this place exists. It's really cool. You should check it out. Go there at least once a month every Friday, or like once every one one every man, one Friday each month.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's something definitely I wish we could have done more of, is just hanging out with friends. Especially because you look at it now, where we can't even really hang out.
Yeah. I
But
feel like if I would go back in time and try to change something, I would like try to reinforce like some friendships, if you know what I mean.
mm,
Like because I made some friends, back in middle school, but I completely forgot about them.
yeah,
You
I
know,
feel.
I'm gonna be honest. I feel pretty bad about it. Like, you know,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, mostly it's due because we all went our separate ways in different schools. If we all went to the same school, we would have still been, like I don't know, playing together, talking together.
Yeah.
But since everyone like separated, and pretty much the only people we talk to is the same people from back in middle school who went to Alliance.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we do talk to other separate people from different schools, but it's. I mean, in my experience, it's been pretty scarce in terms of communication. I don't know about you, Jack. I'm pretty sure you still have communication with other people from at other schools.
Not really.
Okay.
I think the only two people that I've managed to somewhat keep in touch with since going separate ways is Diego, which honestly is super surprising because for those who don't know, Diego is my best friend. He also is friends with Dominic. I met Diego in like 3rd grade, and then we didn't go to the same middle school, but because of PlayStation, we were still able to play with each other almost like any opportunity we got, which is how he met Dominic, because I met Dominic at the middle school I went to, and then introduced him to Diego one day when we were playing like Call of Duty or Minecraft or something. And then we didn't go to the same high school, and we're not even going to the same college, and it's like we've never been together since elementary, but yet we've still had like a really good friendship,
Yeah.
And I think the only other person I can say that with, that like I still like talk to from time to time, is Caesar.
Oh yeah.
And that wasn't only until like recently. Yeah, like we started talking with him again, but like still at the same time, keep in contact with him like from time to time.
Yeah. I feel like. Wait, were we gonna say anything more, Jack?
I was just gonna say, I feel you though on that whole thing that wanting to have continued some friendships,
Yeah. I think it's like gotten worse now that we're in college. Like the amount of responsibility that we have, like now becoming adults and stuff, it's even worse.
Yeah.
So I feel like even if we try to like reinforce friendships, it would become like inevitable because we're bound to become people have in day-to-day life. Like we just don't have time to talk with each other.
Yeah.
I mean, now with COVID, the stay-at-home like type rule, kind of at least like brings us back together, sort of.
Yeah.
But I mean, since now like society is like normalizing, instead of normalcy, normality. I think we might just go back as if it was back in 2019. Sort of. I mean, we still gotta wear masks and all that stuff, but you know what I mean?
Yeah. I definitely feel you on that. It's really tough when it comes to friendships, not knowing if some people are gonna stay or some people aren't, and it also hurts when like you can sense the like divide, like you can see like you're not as close with people as before, and like the friendship's just slowly like coming to an end, but like you can't do nothing about it,
Yeah.
I definitely will say personally, if